Sabr in regard to abstinence from sins and fulfillment of duties ta'at is related to deficient knowledge of the secrets of ibadat worship and the hereafterly forms of acts of sin and obedience. When a person firmly believes that what he is going to obtain in the other world after death is a form of his own deeds performed in this worldly life, he will have no distress while going through hardships and hostile situations. Rather, such a person becomes happy with the difficulties encountered in the fulfillment of divine duties. His joy becomes more than the anguish of a normal person over such difficulties. His attachment to God increases during adverse circumstances. A manifestation of such a high station of Rida was exemplified in the personalities of companions of Imam Hussein in the event of Karbala. Imam Reza said, among the exhortations of Prophet to Abu Darda, if you are able to act for the pleasure Rida of Allah with firm conviction, then do so. And if this is not possible for you, then practice sabr on unpleasant matters, as it will bring plenty of blessings. Al-Majlisi, Bahar Al-Anwar, Volume 82, page 136, Hadith number 21. The outcome of sabr. Sabr produces many good results that include soul's training and discipline. If a person bears patiently with misfortunes and calamities for some time and seriously endures the hardships entailed during worship, rites and the bitterness arising from the renunciation of forbidden pleasures, and if all this is done for the sake of obedience to his Lord and Provider, it gradually becomes easy for him to bear with the hardships and difficulties. The soul of a patient person relinquishes its earlier uncontrolled state and he develops an enduring luminous faculty that raises him over the station of sabr to reach other higher spiritual stations. Practicing sabr while enjoining good and forbidding evil. Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahi, anil munkar, makes a person more steadfast and firm. Anguish, anxiety and untoward body movements at the time of financial loss, death, natural disasters, etc. are the signs of soul's weakness. They deprive one's personality of stability and dignity, weaken the determination, and enfeeble the intellect. At such delicate moments, sabr is key to the gates of felicity and deliverance. It strengthens the will and the power of resolution to overcome adverse circumstances. Make rational decisions and act wisely. Sabr in regard to sins is the source of the self's taqwa, fear of God. Sabr in regard to obedience ta'at is the source of intimacy with God and His love. And sabr in misfortunes is the source of rida with divine destiny and decrees. Higher levels of sabr. Sabr fi Allah, sabr in God. It means steadfastness while endeavoring to get rid of evil habits, e.g. lying, slandering, greed and ugly traits, e.g. egoism, hypocrisy, envy, and practicing abstinence from the objects of love and attraction, e.g. avoiding haram music, giving up sleep for night prayers, eating moderately during self-purification. It is the denial of selfhood in the path of the beloved God. This stage belongs to the wayfarers al-sulik. Sabr ma Allah, sabr with God. An ardent wayfarer in the path of God during his sincere ibadat and endeavors reaches the state of selflessness such that he from time to time witnesses intimacy with God. The light of his attributes and names illuminates his heart and vision. He has to be patient and safeguard himself from minor traces of self-love, pride, etc. during these phases in order to witness higher stages. Sabr and Allah, sabr from God. It pertains to the stations of lovers of God who, after experiencing His intense love, have to return to their own physical world and bear separation from Him. It is the hardest and the most difficult of the stations. This sublime level of sabr is indicated by Imam Ali in the famous du Akumail, O my God, my Master and my Lord. Even if I were able to endure thy chastisement, how shall I bear thy separation? Sabr by Allah, sabr for God. It is the state of perfection experienced when one achieves the station of existing only with God Baka, by Allah, and molds himself with the norms of Allah Takaluk by Akhlaq. Allah. It is for those blessed with stability and steadfastness, and is attained after sabr with God. The reward of sabr. Imam al-Sadiq said, whoever of the believers that bears patiently with a tribulation that befalls him, has the reward of 1,000 martyrs. Al-Kulaini, Al-Kafi, Volume 2, Bab al-Sabr, Hadith Hash 17. Imam al-Sadiq said, when the believer enters his grave, Salat is on his right hand, zakat on his left, virtue faces him, with saber taking him under its shelter. When the two angels encharged with questioning enter upon him, saber says to Salat, zakat and virtue, take care of your companion, and if you fail to assist him I will take care of him myself. Ibid, Hadith number 8. An advice to attain saber. This world is a believer's prison. Gather all the strength at your command and be patient and forbearing throughout its ups and downs. With courage and fortitude, stand against adversities and calamities. A short article discussing the nature and reality of anger, and suggesting ways to control it. Anger Ghadab, those who spend freely whether in prosperity or in adversity, who restrain their anger and pardon men. And Allah loves those who do good. Quran 3:134. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq said, anger is the key that opens the door to all kinds of vices. Al-Kulaini, Al-Kafi, Volume 2, page 303, Hadith number 3. It is narrated from Imam al-Sadiq that he heard his father Imam al-Bakir as saying, a Bedouin came to the Prophet and said, I live in the desert. Teach me the essence of wisdom. Thereupon the Prophet said to him, I command you not to get angry. After repeating his question thrice and hearing the same reply from the Prophet every time, the Bedouin said to himself, after this I will not ask any question, since the Apostle of God does not command anything but good. Imam al-Sadiq says, my father used to say, is there anything more violent than anger? Verily, a man gets angry and kills someone whose blood has been forbidden by God, or slanders a married woman. Al-Kulaini, Al-Kafi, Volume 2, page 303, Hadith number 4. Reality of anger. Anger is a psychological state that results from inner agitation and desire for revenge. And when this agitation becomes more violent, it intensifies the fire of anger. A violent commotion engulfs one's brain on account of which the mind and the intellect lose control and become powerless. At that time, the inner state of a person resembles a cave where fire has broken out, filling it with flames and suffocating clouds of smoke that leap out of its mouth with intense heat and a fiery howl. When that happens, it becomes extremely difficult to pacify such a person and to extinguish the fire of his wrath, whatever is thrown in it. To cool it down becomes a part of it, adding to its intensity. It is for this reason that such a person becomes blind and deaf to guidance and good etiquettes. In such a condition, all such efforts as counsel, advice, and exhortation fail to appease the person. The more one tries to pacify it through humble requests and efforts, the more violent it becomes until the angry person physically harms someone or seeks revenge. Imam al-Bakir said, indeed, this anger is a spark lit by Satan in the heart of the son of Adam. Al-Kulaini, Al-Kafi, Volume 2, page 304, Hadith number 12. The devastating effects and consequences of anger. A person given to anger behaves unreasonably like a lunatic without rationally considering the outcome of his actions. He commits ugly and indecent acts and his tongue, limbs, and body go out of his control. Anger may lead one to use abusive language against the prophets of God and his Aliyah. It may lead one to desecrate sanctities and utter slanders about venerable persons, murder a pious or innocent soul, wreck the lives of creatures of God, destroy a family, or reveal the secrets of others, tearing up the veils that cover them. There is no limit to such cruel and oppressive acts that a person can commit at the time of outbreak of faith-consuming fire of anger that can destroy many homes, indeed an entire society. As to the moral hazards, anger may cause malice towards creatures of God, leading sometimes even to the enmity not only of prophets and Aliyah, but also of the holy essence of God, the Nourisher. It may also